So you want to start Wim Hof Method. Maybe you're a bit out of puff. Maybe you think there are health benefits you can get from it. Maybe you've tried to climb Kilimanjaro or some other mountain and failed hundreds of meters before reaching the summit, as I did. And you're looking for a way to improve your oxygen capacity and your lung volume and tackle it again in a year's time or two, as I will. Well, if so, stick with me as we go through a round of Wim Hof breathing method to get you cracking as soon as possible. Watch the video all the way through the end, and I'll give you 5 tips on how to maximize your improvement with Wim Hof breathing so that you get the most out of the technique. Let's get into it. Wim Hof is a Dutch adventurer and multi-record holder for cold exposure, as well as crazy stunts like running marathons through the Arctic, climbing Kilimanjaro in a pair of shorts in record time, climbing through the death zone in a pair of shorts on Mount Everest, all through a series of techniques of breathing and gradual cold exposure in order to improve his immune system, oxygen capacity, and mental toughness. In today's video, we're going to demonstrate one round of a basic technique. A typical round of Wim Hof breathing technique involves 30 hyperventilations, followed by approximately 2 minutes of an exhalation breath hold. At the end of that breath hold, you take another deep breath in and you hold it for 15 seconds. When you exhale, you begin a second round of hyperventilations. More advanced versions of the technique may involve more rounds, so 4, 5 or 6 rounds. They may involve more hyperventilations, so 40, 50 or even 60 breaths before the breath hold. Or they may involve more rapid breath take. So how you modify the technique is always up to you, but we're going to start with a simple 30 breath technique with a 2-minute breath hold that will get you going and will really be all that you need to achieve a mountain climb that you're looking for example. I'm going to use a pulse oximeter connected to my finger, which will indicate the oxygen saturation. So if I turn it on and put it on my finger, you'll see the larger number is the oxygen saturation, which should be about 98-99% in every individual. The number on the right is the pulse. So you'll see the oxygen saturation change as I hold my breath longer and longer. And as I start breathing again, it should increase. So it's just a useful way for you to measure what your oxygen saturation is like. On Kilimanjaro at around 5,896 meters, the oxygen drops to almost half of what it is at sea level. So most climbers will start experiencing oxygen saturations of 80 rather than 90, and it's quite puffy getting up to those levels, 80, even 70 something in some people. So you want to be able to improve your tolerance to low low oxygen levels, but you also want to be able to expand your lung volume and improve the strength of your diaphragm. And the Wim Hof method helps you achieve that. So let's get started.
Letting go. Right on. Fully in. Letting go. Not fully out, just letting go. But fully in. Letting go. And once again. Come on. Don't hesitate. Give it. Deeply in. Letting go. Deeply in. Letting go. Going great, man. Deeply in. Letting go. Deeply in. Letting go. Deeply in. Letting go. Deeply in. Letting go. It's about changing the chemistry right now in your body. Deeply in. Letting go. Deeply in. Letting go. Nice one. Feels good, huh? Hey. Give it fully. 2 Take him in. Let him go. Take him in. Let him go. No hesitation. It's about changing the chemistry right now in your body. Let it go and stop. Just stop. Witness. Without air in the lungs, you are able to stay much more than normally. Why? Because we changed your chemistry. Carbon dioxide went out, O2 went up, filled up all the cells, and the pH levels go up. Then we are able to tap into the central nervous system, and at the end we got the brainstem. And that's the place of the pineal gland, hypothalamus, pituitary gland. And the pineal gland makes the secretion of adrenaline in dangerous situations. Normally we do not get into it because of our shallow breathing. But this is the way to get into the most primitive part, the reptilian brain, without many difficulties, and fend off bacteria, getting better into the endocrine systems. In minutes, and you're still on. That shows that the capacity to fill yourself up with oxygen is a lot more than we normally use. And as we do not use it, we are not making a use of the full capacity of our physiology. Now we find out we got a different layers, and we never use it. And this is the way to learn to use it, to tap in and back into the primitive brain, into the endocrine systems, immune systems, the way nature has meant it to be. Everybody is able to do it. Whenever you feel the urge to breathe, you don't need to force. It's only learning how to oxygenize the body and all the cells. You're going great, man. Nice one. Feels good, huh? When you feel the urge to breathe, you breathe in fully and keep it for 10-15 seconds. Then that's one round. Fully in and keep it. Letting go.
So, now that you've seen a demonstration of the technique, let's have a little bit of a look at 5 tips that might improve your technique. So, first of all, make sure you're comfortable. Make sure you're lying down somewhere with pillows around you, because you don't want to be doing this technique somewhere dangerous. For example, in your car on the way to work, or in your bathtub, or in a swimming pool. Because a lot of people, when they start Wim Hof Method, they may get dizzy, they may get pins and needles, lightheaded, disorientated, they may even faint. There have been a couple of recorded cases of people fainting and then drowning by doing it in a swimming pool or in their bathtub. So please make sure you're safe, please make sure you're comfortable wearing loose-fitting clothing, and make sure that you're somewhere safe so that if you do happen to faint or feel uncomfortable, you're not going to crash your head somewhere and hurt yourself. So that's the first tip, make sure you're comfortable. Keep your eyes closed as well, so that you can use it as an opportunity to do some meditation. The second tip, when you're taking your breath in, there's been a lot of debate online about whether you should breathe through your nose or breathe through your mouth. Wim Hof's gone on record as saying he doesn't really care which way you do it, as long as you're comfortable. So I would suggest breathing through your mouth as a starter, simply because you can follow the breathing cycle a lot quicker. If you've got a bit of congestion, it might make it a little bit more difficult. There are pros and cons to breathing through the mouth as well as breathing through the nose. For the purposes of a beginner's tutorial, let's just start breathing through our mouth. Try not to worry yourself too much about all the technical aspects of it. We'll talk a little bit about nose and mouth breathing when we go through the potato method. But for now, just breathe through your mouth because it's the easiest way to get going. Tip number 3. Wim Hof always suggests that when you exhale during your hyperventilations, that you don't exhale fully. Always keep a little bit in reserve. So when you breathe in all the way, breathe out, but keep a little bit in. That way you'll find that you'll be able to oxygenate a lot more effectively, because you need the presence of some carbon dioxide to transfer oxygen. Again, we'll talk about that when we do Buteyko method. But I've found personally, when I do this technique, if I do hold back a little bit of that breath in my lungs, I tend to get a better score when I'm holding my breath. I don't find the urge to breathe or the gasp reflex kicks in as quickly. So you may find that a useful adjunct. Tip number 4. When it comes to the exhalation breath hold, try to relax. Don't squeeze your larynx. Don't be tense. Just maintain as much comfort as you can. Try to focus on letting your neck relax. Don't let it tense forward. Try to also be aware of your diaphragm. Don't tense the diaphragm if you can avoid it. Try to remain that sense of relaxation. If you try to be tense, you'll find that you generate much more carbon dioxide, which means you're going to develop a gasp reflex quicker. That may be desirable. For example, Wim Hof often gets people during the breath hold to do push-ups or do some kind of yoga technique or just do some weights. It's a way of challenging the system to build up metabolites in the body. That will help oxygen transfer as well, but you'll find you generally won't get the whole 2 minutes out of it. So it depends on what you want to do. If you just want to practice as a beginner, don't do the tension techniques. If you want to challenge yourself a little bit further down the line, definitely while you're holding your breath, get down, do some push-ups or just walk up and down your hallway. But again, be aware that some people get a bit dizzy, lightheaded, disorientated. So I don't want you as a beginner to be doing anything unsafe or where you might hurt yourself. So try to relax when you're doing this technique. Tip number 5. Try not to force yourself, whether it's in the breath out or whether it's in the holding. Do the best you can, but don't force it. Wim Hof has mentioned in a couple of his videos that especially in the breath holds, don't hold it until you burst. There's no point. It tensions your diaphragm, tensions your neck, and it makes things very difficult for the next round. So be aware of that slight air deprivation, be aware of a slight discomfort, and then be aware of a modest discomfort. At the end of my demonstration, I wanted to illustrate this by giving you an example of mild air hunger, modest air hunger, moderate air hunger, and then severe air hunger, where I took a final breath in. So it's up to you if you want to practice those techniques. They're not typically Wim Hof, but at the end of my 3 or 4 round cycles, I'll often, at my final inspiration, I'll hold that breath in, hold it for as long as I can, and I'll indicate with my fingers how uncomfortable I feel. I'll breathe out again, and I'll often do that again. For the purposes of today's demonstration, I've used the pulse oximeter just to demonstrate what the blood oxygenation levels are like. You may find that interesting. Certainly, you can buy one of your own pulse oximeters if you're interested and keep a log of your own progress. But Wim Hof has a mobile app that you can download as well, and you can track your progress and save your progress on that as well. The app is excellent. It's also got some yoga techniques and exercises that you can do. Lots of motivation there. So do join the Wim Hof community. Hopefully you found this demonstration useful. If so, please hit the like button below, share with your friends or other people that you think might benefit. Subscribe, press the bell notification button. Please leave your comments, questions, suggestions, personal experiences in the comment section below. Hopefully this is a bit of a community where people can share their experiences. There may be lots of other people that are trying this technique for the first time. So if you've had any personal experiences that might be of benefit, please do indicate below and help each other out, give each other some information, and I'll certainly try to get back to you if you've got any questions for me as well. Thanks once again for joining me, and I'll see you during the next video.